Oh,
Now that I got everyone's attention and probably woken you up, and what's an effective way to get everyone's attention? Probably, you know. But yet again, I would really like to give this time to appreciate that you as the audience are listening to the speech at the moment. Being the most basic knowledge of any speech is to have a visual aid accompany you might seem somewhat boring. But as you all know, there are some whom have distracted the audience from the main points of speech, like my speech horn. All of us have been there. You're watching a presentation and the presenter puts up a slide for which he immediately apologizes. He says something like, "Pardon the eye chart." With a little laugh, the eye chart references because the print on the chart is illegible. Unless you're sitting in the very front row, the presenter painstakingly explains what each symbol, line, or bar means, and he seems to expect his audience to understand and follow his explanations. Why do public speakers do this? So I'll explain the problem that most presenters have with using such programs as PowerPoint, and I found that only 10% actually use the visual aid effectively. I'll go on to the effects it has and the simple solution to it all. Most presentations nowadays use poster board or a PowerPoint, as all should know since, well, we're in public speaking class. However, there are some mistakes that just stand out the most. Don McMillan, a public speaker as well, that states mistake number one, that, and I'd like to stress this as well, is that people tend to put every word on their PowerPoint or poster board presentation. Although this eliminates the need to memorize talk, however, this makes your visual aid crowded, wordy, and boring. You will lose your audience attention before you even make it to the bottom of your first line. Well, most of us really do believe that a picture is worth 1,000 words. Also consider this as well. While I was looking for scenarios or situations on what would happen if you didn't have a PowerPoint or a presentation, consider this as a scenario when you're making a speech. What if the audience is blind? What if you have to present outdoors? What then would you do if these scenarios come up? There are some cases that come with using visual aid that people also tend to ignore while using a visual aid like PowerPoint. Audience might focus too much on the PowerPoint. The visual aid might cause the audience to miss the big picture of the message. The problem with aids like PowerPoint is that they make it really easy for the audience to tune you out. There are various visual distractions that I found on that's been posted on the University of Hawaii Maui Community College Speech Department, and these are include and not limited to the illegible image, the useless image, the distracting image, the overcomplex, the chart junk, cartoons, ransom notes, a crazy quilt, visual metaphors, and the like. With such effects on a speech, there is a simple solution of it all, and most of the cost effects that I've come across in a book called Give a Speech or Presentation by Dr. Harvey Alder, that visual aid is not confined to visual aid. You yourself are the biggest visual element in a presentation and potentially the most compelling picture. And if it's mandatory and you have to give a speech with visual aid, just keep it simple. Keep it visible and keep it colorful to the extent that it does not turn out like this. You really don't have any idea what's going on here, do you? And if you have to use PowerPoint slides, keep it not too many and not too few. And also, people gave speeches for thousands of years before PowerPoint or it was invented, or even projectors or slides were invented. When you give a speech without visual aid, people actually look at you and listen to what you have to say. People most well-known people in history that gave speeches include Abraham Lincoln, Martin Luther King Jr., John F. Kennedy, Susan B. Anthony, Franklin D. Roosevelt, and George Washington. That's just to name a few in our own borders. To conclude, I believe someone once told me that the heavier the use of a PowerPoint or any visual aid, the more lightweight or useless a presentation is. I hope that I've given an insight on the most basic part of any of our speeches, that visual aid is supposed to be the assistant and not the main show of any speech. So to conclude, I hope that this has been visually enlightening as a speaker, and hope to view all of your upcoming presentation as well. Thank you for your time.